Point Park baseball travels to WVU Tech, while softball pulls out the brooms against conference opponents. Track and field soon reaches conferences. The Pirates stay on their hot start, while the Penguins continue to claw for a wild card spot. The MLB stays exciting, while the NHL season soon sets their playoff bracket. And what awaits for the Pirates the rest of this season? For my last time, the seniors' final time, and the last time this semester, it's time to come on down to the Pioneer Sideline. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Pioneer Sideline for the last time. I'm your host, Natalia Hillen. The Point Park University baseball team played a 3-game series against WVU Tech this past weekend. The Pioneers won Game 1 on Friday, 14-10. On Saturday, Point Park fell to the Golden Bears in Game 1, 7-5, and won Game 2, 7-0. In Game 1 on Friday, the Pioneers had 4 pitchers combined on the win and had 3 players with 4 hits apiece. Key game leaders were Eddie Javier Jr., who went 4 for 5 with 2 homers and 5 RBIs. Jordan Campbell went 4 for 5 with 2 doubles and 2 RBIs, and Michali Brito went 4 for 6 with a double and 2 RBIs. The final score was 14-10. Moving on to the doubleheaders on Saturday. In Game 1, the Pioneers fell to the Golden Bears. In the middle innings, WVU Tech came back from a deficit. In the 5th, Hunter Fansler and Noah Cummings both got a 2-run shot that pushed WVU Tech to the front. Point Park's Jared Campbell hit a solo homer in the 8th, but that's all the Pioneers got done. The Golden Bears added a couple more runs to win the opener, 7-5. Finally, moving on to Game 2, Point Park locked in. Freshman pitcher Ethan Parker threw a 2-hit shutout in the decisive game of the series. He faced 25 batters, with the base runners reaching on 2 singles, a walk, and 2 batters. Key game leaders were Isaac Santana and Luis Gonzalez, each hitting a 3-run homer. Michali Brito was 2 for 2 with a double, 2 walks, and a run, and Carlos Martinez was 2 for 3 with a walk and a run. The biggest inning was the 6th, where Point Park had 3 hits. Omar Murillo hit an infield single that brought in a run. The final score was 7-0. Point Park has won all 7 of its conference series weekends this year, and they are first place in the RSC East Division. The Pioneers are 28-11 overall and 16-5 in the RSC. Point Park was scheduled to face Wilberforce today for a doubleheader, but the games were canceled. The Pioneers are scheduled to face Washington and Jefferson tomorrow for a doubleheader. Game 1 is at 2 p.m. and Game 2 is at 4 p.m. Good luck, Point Park. Switching gears over to the Point Park softball team, as they have had a few games within the past week. The doubleheader against West Liberty that was postponed earlier in the month was rescheduled for last Wednesday. Point Park won the first game 5-4 and fell to the Hilltoppers in the second game 3-1. Last Friday, the Pioneers were scheduled to face Shawnee State for a doubleheader, but those games were postponed. This past Sunday, Point Park faced Alice Lloyd in a doubleheader and clinched both wins, with Game 1 5-1 and Game 2 ending with a final score of 2-1. And finally yesterday, the Pioneers played a doubleheader against IUPUC and clinched both wins again. Game 1 ended with a final score of 6-1, and Point Park shut out IUPUC with a final score of 4-0. In Game 1, Savannah Lee started off the second inning strong by getting a leadoff single to left field. Haley O'Neill hit a ground ball to the second baseman, but it could not be handled for O'Neill to reach base. Mia Arndt went 2 for 3 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs scored. In the 5th, she smashed a home run to center field, and the final score was 6-1. Moving on to Game 2 against IUPUC, the Pioneers clinched the win. Point Park got off to a great start and started scoring right away. They picked up their first run in the bottom of the first. PPU got 2 more runs in the bottom of the second as Remy Coy hit a single right field to get Mackenzie Moore to score. In the 3rd, the game's final run came in as Gianna Welsh got a double to the left center fence. Savannah Lee went 6 innings, allowing 4 hits and picking up 2 strikeouts. Other key game leaders were Melanie Taylor, who went 2 for 4 with 1 run, and Savannah Lee went 2 for 3 as well as Christina Mala. PPU is 17-17 overall and 10-12 in the RSC. Congratulations to Mia Arndt on breaking the PPU softball single-season stolen base record yesterday when she stole home in the bottom of the 3rd inning. This is her 17th stolen base of the season. The previous record was 16, held by Taylor Gold in 2021 and 2022. Congrats, Mia. The games against Walsh were canceled for today. They will be facing WU Tech for a doubleheader this Friday with Game 1 at 3 p.m. and Game 2 at 5 p.m. After the break, we recap the track meets from this past weekend, as well as the men's golf spring season. Stay tuned. Now let's send things over to Bryn Reese to recap the track team's results at Westminster College and Bucknell University. Bryn?
Thanks, Nat. Men's and women's track and field competed in 2 separate meets this past weekend, traveling to Westminster College for the Westminster Invitational and to Bucknell University for the Bison Outdoor Classic. Several school records were broken and 2 tickets were punched to NAIA Nationals. Most of the runners competed in the Westminster Invitational, facing schools such as Slippery Rock, Grove City, Carlow, and Carnegie Mellon. Siobhan Fletcher broke his own school record and placed first in the hammer throw with a toss of 47.92 meters. Luke McKenna set the school record for the 10,000 meter, recording a 32-minute and 44.39 second time for 3rd place overall. His time took out an 8-year-old school record from Point Park's first year of track and field in 2015. McKenna holds the outdoor school records in the 3K, 5K, and the 10K. Close behind McKenna in the 10K was Joshua Goslin with a 5th place finish and a PR time. Tyler Hare led the Pioneers both in the 100-meter and the 200-meter, placing 6th and 27th respectively. Sideline's own Jordan Cullen and Gabe Ebersole competed in the 3,000-meter steeplechase, finishing 10th and 14th respectively. Cullen ran a PR time of 10 minutes and 36.98 seconds. Siobhan Fletcher led the Pioneers in shot put as well, with a 6th place finish at 14.31 meters. Maxwell Good placed big in the long jump and the triple jump, placing 7th and 9th overall. Switching gears to the women's results at Westminster, Maya Greshner placed first in the 400-meter at 59.73 seconds to win the meet. Sophia Lee Hauser PR'd in the 10,000-meter for a 2nd place finish. In the 1,500-meter, Cassandra O'Connor and Olivia Hare both PR'd, placing 8th and 9th respectively. They both ran the 800-meter as well, as O'Hare finished 4th overall and O'Connor placed 11th overall. Corinne Lee Hauser PR'd and placed 8th in the 3,000-meter steeplechase with a time of 12 minutes and 51.51 seconds. Eden McElhaney placed 10th in the high jump at 1.5 meters, and Nyla Rogier followed in 11th place with a mark of 1.45 meters. In the Bucknell Bison Outdoor Classic, Point Park only sent 8 athletes to compete, 5 men and 3 women. Demir Lomax competed in the 100-meter and the 110-meter hurdles, managing a 34th place finish in the hurdles with a time of 16.32 seconds. Juan Barrera showed out in 2 events as well. He PR'd in the 200-meter at 22.40 seconds for 40th place among 123 runners. Barrera PR'd in the 400-meter too with a time of 49.54 seconds to break the school record and place 36th overall. Wesley Trower followed in the 400 with a 57th place finish. Ramiro Alunque delivered shocking results in the 800-meter, finishing in 17th place out of 159 runners. He had a time of 1 minute and 52.11 seconds, which was enough for an NAIA B standard and a national qualification. Yannick Windelband competed in the 800 meter as well, but performed impressively in the unseeded 1500 meter. He finished 32nd overall. On the women's side, Allison Placio PR'd in the 800 meter with a time of 2 minutes and 20.27 seconds. She also placed 26th overall in the unseeded 1500 meter. Jana Schmid placed 9th in the unseeded 800 meter with a time of 2 minutes and 25.06 seconds. Sideline's own Natalia Hillen delivered in both the 100 meter hurdles and the 400 meter hurdles. Hillen placed 17th in the 100 meter hurdles and 15th in the 400 meter hurdles. Her 400 meter hurdle time of 1 minute and 4.66 seconds was enough to meet the NAIA standard and punch her ticket to nationals. Not only did her time break a school record, but she is Point Park's first women's national qualifier in this event. Congrats, Nat. Keep up with the track and field team on pointparksports.com as they compete in multiple invitationals this weekend and host the RC Championship next weekend. Back to you, Nat.
Thanks, Bren. Now giving us an update on the men's golf season so far this spring, and joining me from the desk is senior Jacob Kubik. Jacob?
Thanks, Nat. The Point Park men's golf team won their previous event at South Point Golf Club, as mentioned here last week. The team looked to continue their winning ways at the Grove City Invitational, but the rain had other plans. The tournament was rained out for the second time in 2 weeks, and a makeup date has not been announced yet at this time. Once the skies finally broke and sunshine made an appearance, the team traveled to Lakeview Country Club in Erie, PA for the Mercyhurst Spring Invitational. The team fell just short of back-to-back victories, claiming second place overall with a two-round total of 307 and 309 for a 40 over par 616. Troy Lowry continued his perfect spring as an individual, winning the event with a two-round total of 147, 3 over par with a 72 and 75. Dating back to the Westminster Invitational on October 9th, Troy has won 5 consecutive tournaments as an individual. He becomes the first golfer in program history to win 5 straight tournaments individually, which is a stunning achievement. Congrats, Troy. Tharcisse Kalinda finished just one shot behind Lowry with a 4 over par 148, shooting a 76 and a 72 with 3 birdies over the 36 holes. His second place finish is tied for the highest individual placement of the season for him. Anthony Santilli claimed the team lead in birdies over the 36 holes with 5 and shot 13 over, placing in a tie for 22nd. Anthony Maltoni rounded out the team score, shooting 20 over par and placing in a tie for 34th place. With Grove City's tournament status up in the air, next on the schedule for the Pioneers is the River States Conference Championship at Glade Springs on April 28th, 29th, and 30th. Best of luck as the season wraps up. Back to you, Nat.
Thanks, Jacob. After the break, we hear about the rest of the sports world from this past week. Don't go anywhere.
Take them cue and open their mics.
Today marked the 1-year anniversary of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette strike.
Point Park University just hosted a campus-wide meeting.
Plans for the rapid transit bus line are not set to conclude until 2025.
Welcome back. Now joining me from the desk to discuss all things locally is Joey Bova. Joey?
Thanks, Nat. Throughout the last week, the Penguins and Pirates have combined for 10 total games while only managing to pull together 2 wins apiece. First, I'll start with Penguins hockey. Last Thursday, the Penguins managed to pick up 2 points, closing out in overtime against a similar playoff-situated Detroit Red Wings. With a final score of 6-5, goal scorers for the Pens in order was Drew O'Connor and Chris Letang in the first, Sidney Crosby and Brian Rust in the second, Jeff Carter shorthanded and unassisted in the third, and Eric Carlson finishing it off in overtime, securing the win. On Saturday, the Bruins, who already clinched a playoff spot, acted as if this was their game to clinch their spot. While the Penguins led in shots on goal with 32 in total to Boston's 31, the Bruins had 12 shots in both the second and third period. Boston scored 4 goals in the second period alone, 3 on Alex Nedeljkovic. Mike Sullivan then pulled Ned, putting Jari in the game, who then allowed 2 more before the Bruins found the open net. In their last home game on Monday the 15th, Captain Sidney Crosby led off the scoring versus the Predators, netting his 42nd goal of the season. The Pens managed to only let 2 goals in, both in the second. Pens scored once again in the second and again in the third, securing the 4-2 final score. The Pens' regular season game is Wednesday the 17th against the Islanders. With this being the final regular season game, fans will need a Pens win over the Islanders or at least make it into overtime, while also rooting for the Philadelphia Flyers to take down the Capitals. Only then will the Penguins officially clinch a spot in the 2024 NHL playoffs. In baseball news, the Pirates split their 2-game series against the Tigers. In their game last Thursday, Martin Perez went 8 total innings, only allowing 1 total run and 7 punch-outs and 6 hits. After Perez allowed his only run, closer David Bednar allowed a walk, 4 runs off 3 hits. The final game of that series ended 5-3 in favor of Detroit. Pirates' most recent series with their cross-state rivals ended in a split, with the Phillies winning Game 1 5-1 and Game 3 4-3. Both losses had 8 strikeouts through 6 innings. In Game 2 of the series, the bottom half of the lineup managed to score all 5 runs, with Henry Davis scoring 2 runs while also driving in 2 runs off of his 2 hits. That game ended 5-2 in favor of the Pirates. In the final game in Philly, Jack Suwinski got hot in the 6th, hitting a grand slam, taking the 1-2 deficit and flipping in the lead 5-2. Newly acquired Joey Bart continues to rake, hitting his 2nd home run of the season, extending the lead, making it 6-2. With a pass ball scoring Jared Triolo, extending the lead by 1 in the top of the 9th, Andrew McCutchen hits his 300th home run, and he knew it. Smiling as he left the batter's box, Cutch joined Willie Stargell, Ralph Kiner, and Roberto Clemente as the 4th Pirates player in history in uniform to hit the mark, while also becoming the 160th player to ever do so and the 12th active player to hit the mark. Pirates are currently 11-6 atop the NL Central, with the Brewers at 10-5 and the Cubs at 10-6. The next home series is against the Red Sox this weekend, starting on Friday. That's all from me. Now let's send things over to senior John Mayer for a preview of the NFL draft for the Steelers. John?
Thanks, Joey. The lead up to this year's NFL draft is in full swing, as mock drafts have been flying around, with the Steelers finishing up their pre-draft visits. Some of the big names the Steelers have hosted include Georgia tackle Amarius Mims, Oregon State tackle Talise Fuaga, Washington tackle Troy Fatanu, Oregon center Jackson Powers Johnson, West Virginia center Zach Frazier, South Carolina wide receiver Xavier Legette, Georgia wide receiver Ladd McConkey, Florida wide receiver Ricky Pearsall, and even Washington quarterback Michael Penix. In a recent report by ESPN NFL Draft insider Matt Miller, he talked to an unnamed source from the Steelers who said, "I can't tell you the player, but I can tell you it will be an offensive lineman regarding the Steelers' first-round pick, 20th overall." Miller also said the team believes they are elite at drafting wide receivers outside the first round, so expect the Steelers to fill the void at receiver with a selection after their first-round pick, possibly as soon as their second-round selection at 51st overall. With all the draft talk wrapped up, this is the last ever Steelers Fan 7 segment for UView Sports. Thank you to all the crew, the producers, and the cast for making this possible. This was an honor to report Steelers for UView, and it's something I'll be forever grateful for. John Mayer, Steelers Fan 7, officially signing off. With that in mind, let's hear from Mike Hodges about the rest of the sports world. Mike?
Thanks, John. The NHL is in the home stretch of the 2023-2024 regular season. That means playoff races are heating up atop divisions and the wildcard bubble. Throughout this final week, every point will be crucial as teams battle for playoff positioning. Fans will have their eyes glued to the scoreboard and the standings for the next 2 weeks. The playoff picture may change as each day goes on, so the standings will be updated daily to show where each playoff hopeful stands as the postseason gets closer and closer. Here's a reminder how playoff seeding works. The top 3 teams in each division automatically qualifies for the playoffs. Each conference has 2 wildcard spots. The top division winner in each conference will play the second wildcard team, and the other division winner will play the first wildcard team. The second and third place teams in each division will match up with one another in the first round. While the Western Conference is locked up, one final spot remains for the NHL wildcard playoffs in the Eastern Conference. The Capitals control their own destiny. A win over the Flyers would give them 91 points, and they hold the regulation wins tiebreaker over the Red Wings, the only other club of these four that can get the 91 points. Detroit's path includes a win over the Montreal Canadiens and a loss of some variety for the Capitals, either in regulation or in overtime/shootout. The max total for the Penguins is 90, but if they finish tied with the Caps and Wings at that total, they are in thanks to the regulation wins tiebreaker. Accordingly, they are fans of the Canadiens and Flyers. On Tuesday night, game number 82 for Pittsburgh is Wednesday against the New York Islanders, who have clinched the number 3 spot in the Metro Division. The Flyers can get in, but it is complicated. Philly must beat Washington in regulation, and the Wings and Penguins must lose their games in regulation. This gives the Flyers, Caps, and Wings all 89 points, and the Penguins 88. The Wings would be out and put the Caps and Flyers to a 5th tiebreaker. With all that to keep in mind, it has surely been an exciting finish to the NHL regular season. In NBA news, the 2024 NBA Play-In Tournament features star power, making those games more high-profile and making the league happy. LeBron James and Anthony Davis of the Los Angeles Lakers, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors, Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey of the Philadelphia 76ers, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo of the Miami Heat, Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks, DeMar DeRozan of the Chicago Bulls, Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox of the Sacramento Kings, and Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram of the New Orleans Pelicans. The league wanted to create more interest in its regular season and make it possible for more teams to reach the playoffs while trying to curtail tanking. On the final day of the regular season on Sunday, multiple teams wanted to win and avoid the play-in tournament, while several other teams were trying to avoid 9th and 10th place and make their road to the first round easier. Here's what you need to know about the play-in tournament. Number 8 Los Angeles Lakers at number 7 New Orleans Pelicans will be tonight on TNT at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Winner is the number 7 seed against the number 2 seed in Denver in a West first-round series. Number 10 Golden State will be at number 9 Sacramento after that game at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. On Wednesday, number 8 Miami Heat will be at number 7 Philadelphia 76ers, which will be on ESPN at 7 p.m. Eastern. Winner is the number 7 seed against the number 2 New York in an East first-round series. The number 10 Atlanta Hawks will be at number 9 Chicago Bulls, following this at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. With all that to keep in mind as well, there is no doubt that the Stars will be out for these games. In MLB news, Major League Baseball marked the 77th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking the sport's color barrier on Monday. Robinson started at first base for the Brooklyn Dodgers on April 15, 1947, marking the end of the racial segregation that has relegated black players to the Negro Leagues for decades. Members of Robinson's family included his 101-year-old widow were at ballparks from coast to coast to honor him. At New York City Field, Rachel Robinson rode in a golf cart to the Mets dugout where she was given flowers by manager Carlos Mendoza and retired players rookie Mookie Wilson and Butch Husky, the last Mets to wear Robinson's number 42. In other news, John Sterling, the longtime radio voice of the New York Yankees, has decided to retire effective immediately. The club announced this on Monday. Sterling, who is 85, joined the Yankees broadcast in 1989. He went on to call 5,420 regular season and 211 postseason Yankee games. Sterling had taken on a reduced role in recent seasons and traveled less because of health concerns. This season was his 36th in the booth and 20th working alongside Susan Waldman. Sterling will be recognized in a pregame ceremony at Yankee Stadium on Saturday before visiting the radio booth during the game against the Tampa Bay Rays. Also on Jackie Robinson Day, Cubs rookie Michael Busch tied the club's record for consecutive home runs per game with 5 in a 3-2 extra innings win over the Arizona Diamondbacks last night. As April moves on, it'll be interesting to see what teams make a stride in the standings in the 2024 MLB season. That's all from me and the rest of us. Thank you to UView Television and Pioneer Sideline for allowing me to report back to you. Nat?
Thanks, guys. After the break, we discuss the Pirates' early season success and what they can fix.
It's a tough crowd.
Welcome back to Case of the Week. This week, I'm joined by all of the seniors. We have Mike, Joey, Jacob, and John to discuss the early season Pirates. So guys, the first question, what have we liked so far with the Pirates? We're going to start off with Mike.
I love their hitting so far throughout the season. I think they've been coming through with some big-time hits and some splash plays, and they've been pouring on some runs early on in the season. That's what really stands out to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the big things is their pitching. I know at the beginning of the year, the pitching was one of the main concerns, and some of the younger guys, younger arms that we have, not only in the starting rotation but the bullpen have kind of stepped up. Granted, we've had some bad games here and there, but I think the pitching is probably the most surprising thing that's really struck me so far this year.
I don't think I think the starting pitching has been more of a story than the relief pitching has. I think the relief pitching still has stuff to work on. So I think Jared Jones, Mitch Keller, at least the last start, and Martin Perez. I mean, Bailey Falter. They have really shown that they have actually can pitch.
Mm-hmm.
When their first starts through Miami, it was a little bit of worry for them. So I feel like the starting pitching really kind of woke up.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like y'all guys have been saying, the pitching. Jared Jones is an absolute stud coming up from the minors. His strikeout rate is insane, and he's been killing it. And talking about the early season Pirates, I know Kutch has had his struggles, but I'm glad he finally got 300.
Yes, definitely.
It's a special moment, and he's a legend to the city. Even through his struggles, I'm playing him because he's such a legend. And just this could be his last couple seasons coming up. I really love seeing him get number 300.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do the Pirates have to be better for the season as it goes on?
Well, first of all, I think the main thing is situational awareness and how they play in those big situational games. There's been so many times where they've just had the game in their reach and they've made some miscues that have gone against them. Like, for example, last night, Connor Joe, that single into right field that he botched at trying to get it to first, allowed another run and eventually kept the inning alive for the game to be tied.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think fielding has been a real issue. I mean, Gold Glove Brian Hayes, not as many errors as of late, but in that first series against Miami and that second series, I mean, he's a Gold Glover for a reason. You can't be making errors like that. I mean, O'Neal Cruz, his fielding is, I don't ever know what his fielding is going to be like. He's either going to overthrow you or he's going to hit you right on the money at 100 miles an hour. But these overthrows, I mean, Cruz had issues like that last year. Hayes every here and then, but like I mentioned, he's still a Gold Glover. But I think fielding, and I mean, like Mike mentioned, Connor Joe bobbling that little blooper single can't have that happen.
I'm amazed that none of you guys have mentioned strikeouts so far. I think striking out is one of the worst things that this team has going for them. They have over a 300 team batting average right now. I don't know if that's changed since the Mets game or not, but their strikeouts are horrendous.
It's all the looking strikeouts.
And it seems like they always strike out at the worst time. It always is like 2 runners on, 2 outs. They need to stop looking at strikes going over the plate. They need to swing the bat.
There is a plus to that, though. So they have said that in the majors,
going down,
the Pirates,
getting out?
they've seen more pitches, though. They've battled throughout the bats. They've worked the starters.
But what good does driving a pitch count do whenever you're sitting on the bench in 2 pitches? That doesn't do any good.
But sometimes you get to the pitchers and you make them make mistakes, and that's why their runs have been so high, because when you're seeing more pitches, the pitcher is going to make a mistake eventually. And we saw that in the Marlins series.
We're going to let John pop in here.
Yeah, so I feel like, as I said, the feelings definitely work. I got a lot of these guys, they're hitting really well, but the average, like O'Neal Cruz, the average isn't really there. Kutch, so even if Kutch's struggles, though, he's a legend, so we kind of let that slide.
Yeah.
But I got. And then how many losses do the Pirates have right now? 5, 6?
Six.
You guys realize half of those, as much as another legend in this city, David Bednar,
Blunt saves.
half of those I believe have been because of David Bednar blowing saves, correct?
Yep.
So what do you got, 3?
Yeah.
So getting Bednar right, he's going to get right. He's a 2-time All-Star. But when you look at these Pirates losses, nearly half of them have been because of a Bednar blown save.
Yep.
So he's going to get right. That's something that's going to get fixed. But so far, I feel like David Bednar definitely needs to get back to his All-Star self. I feel like he's already starting to do that, starting to improve, definitely.
Well, what do we predict for the Pirates for the rest of the year?
Well, going into the season, I had them around 85 wins, maybe slightly less. I still have them in the 80 win range, like around 82, 83 wins. I still think they're a talented enough team to where they can make strides, especially in the prospect system, like Paul Skeens, whenever he comes up. And, you know, you still got Liver, Perguero. I think the hidden will stay, continue productive. Like we said about strikeout race needs to cut down. But again, pitching, if we can clean that up, I think we can be really strong.
I think you're right. We have a lot of young prospect pitchers that are coming up through the ranks. I think that's one thing that I'm really looking forward to. I'm not in agreement with everyone on thinking that we should bring up Paul Skeens immediately. I still think he should take at least a couple months. But yeah, I'm just excited for the season. I mean, 11-6. Granted, last April we started hot and, you know, things ended the way they did.
Yeah.
What, Vegas had us at 74.5 wins at the beginning of the season. I like
Of this season?
this season.
Yeah.
Mike said 84, 85.
Hammer the over.
I like that. Hammer, you heard it. Hammer the over. I like it. I think they have a wild card chance. Maybe I like them winning the Central, but that's just more of a biased opinion. But I think the Pirates can really just keep working out the rest of the
I'll
season.
piggyback off the Central, and I want everyone's opinion. Are the Pirates right now better than the Cubs?
Yeah.
Are the Pirates better than the Brewers?
Yeah.
It's really
Maybe. The Brewers, maybe. Are they better than the Reds?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Cardinals.
And they're better than the Cardinals.
Yes.
So, I mean, if they can beat up on those teams, if they can beat up on the divisional teams.
Play the Brewers after the Red Sox series.
Yeah, so, I mean, if they can get wins within division, there is no excuse for them to have short of 80 wins. There's no excuse because they play every team, and every team, at least so far, you have to imagine they're going to heat up, but every team really hasn't shown you anything that you could look at and be like, that team is a contender this year. There's none of that.
Maybe other than the Yankees.
The Yankees started off strong just like the Pirates did, but they're bound to have a cool spot just like the Pirates may have. But they need to be consistent throughout the rest of the season. They can't afford a month where they just drop off like they did last year with May and June. They can't. They can't have that. If they can win at least 2/3 of their series in a month, they're going to be happy.
Yeah, like you were saying before, Jake, like they started off really hot last year. They had that fall off. I feel like getting Paul Skeens in there is going to help that fall off not be as severe if they have one, because they need something to spark them late June, July. They need a spark. Call it Paul Skeens.
I think Skeens is, honestly, I think you should only bring Skeens up if there's like an injury.
Yeah.
I don't think, Mike, I don't know your thoughts on this because I don't know how much of a Skeens advocate you are, but I don't think he's a necessary piece right now with how the rotation is.
I mean, with the way the bullpen's going, I think he can be brought up. I mean, obviously.
But he's not going into the bullpen though.
I know that, but when they're trying to build up his pitch count and get him used to going longer innings. So I think bringing him up can help put some relief to the bullpen. Again, I know I said he should be up on opening day, but I think he should be up at least in the month of May and have him ready because again, it goes back to Nutting just saying that he expects them to compete. And if you expect them to compete, then bring up your number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
Paul Skeens is special, man. Like when he makes his debut, it's going to be one of the most anticipated debuts in Pirates history.
Yes.
The question of, you got to keep him in there for the contract purposes. Wait until you get that extra year of control. Don't bring him up too early. But once he comes up, he's going to help the Pirates take off. And again, like my prediction, I'm going to say in between 85, high 80s, low 90s for the win total.
They should be above 500 this year
The fact
with how
that
they started.
And the fact that the Diamondbacks went to the World Series with 84 wins, I think the Pirates can get to the playoffs with around that win range.
Oh, yeah. They're definitely, I think they're going to be winning the Central. I think we're going to get playoff baseball back in the Berg. And, you know, they got some guys. They got some dogs on that team. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
All right, guys. Well, thank you. I'm really excited to see what the Pirates bring to us. And now, here's a special video to honor our graduating seniors and their dedication to Sideline over the years.
I joined UVU from my friends Joey and Jacob. There was a meeting a couple years ago with Robin and a group and I thought it would be a good idea to do something I love, which is broadcast reporting. My job was always to be a sports broadcaster, my dream job, and I wanted to expand my horizons. I wanted to dabble in a lot of other stuff like reporting, and I thought this would be a great idea to do that and build on my resume. The Pitt Panthers went into this week's game against Western Michigan far from whole. Down a laundry list of injured starters that only grew as the game went on, they were still able to put out a convincing win over the Broncos by the score of 34-13 and move to a record of 2-1.
All through freshman year to senior year of high school, I was in media classes, but it really into my junior year and senior year of high school, I really got involved in broadcasting. I was in TV productions, which was our morning announcements class, and then I did on-air talent senior year. So that's how I kind of got started in UView, like coming to Point Park knowing that I wanted to be in broadcasting and journalism, and then being involved immediately my freshman year. So I got involved, I went to all the shows my freshman year, but I ended up sticking with Pioneer Sideline and Entertainment on Point. To start, we take a look at the Houston Texans. They released superstar J.J. Watt after 10 years. Going into 2020, they traded arguably one of the best wide receivers in the league.
Ben Tenuta was in the class, and then Joey Bova and John Mayer were also in the class. So they said that we were having an informational meeting, like how Robin was promoting it in her class too, and she said there's going to be an informational meeting. If you want to join. It seems like you're pretty sports driven, so it was one of those things that Joey said, you know what, why not come to the meeting? So I came to the meeting, ended up meeting some of the people that I'm still working with today, but obviously others have since graduated, and being able to really meet the people and see who I would be interacting with regularly, since it was more of a sports program, and to see that it was a really welcoming environment, it seemed like that was really something that I wanted to do. The Pirates traveled down to Florida to battle the Marlins of Miami in a 3-game series this weekend. On Friday, the Pirates won a low-scoring battle by a score of 2-1, backed by a solid outing by Will Crow.
So my freshman year, 2020, I originally heard about UView I was in a summer program at Point Park before, and I met Robin once. And before I decided on Point Park, she was explaining to me what UView was. But my freshman year, whenever I was here, I heard about it more. There were seniors who were going around preaching about it. Showed up to our interest meeting. I mean, it wasn't a regular interest meeting because there weren't as many people there. It was online and in person, but I just showed up and then started doing Sideline day one of my freshman year, and I was kind of just been here ever since.
I have the Cardinals for the NL Central. I mean, they have Paul Goldschmidt and Matt Carpenter both on the corners. They just picked up Nolan Arenado for pretty much nothing. So I think they might take it this year.
One of my closest friends freshman year was my boy Ben, Big Tom Ben, and Ben Tenuta, and he told me, like, John, bro, this is perfect for you. But I really didn't have any fresh shoes or really anything nice to wear to report. I was like, just pull up in the Big Ben jersey. Just pull up in the Steelers jersey. We'll get you a little Steelers segment going. And little do you know, today we turned into the Steeler Fan 7 segment, and I feel like it's just a blessing, honestly.
The Steelers suffered a tough loss in the home opener to the Raiders by a score of 26-17. It was a tough afternoon down at Heinz Field, as the Steelers offense struggled against the Raiders defense for the majority of the afternoon.
This goes way back to freshman year. Just being with my friends every single week and working through the pre-production part. Joey Bova and Jacob Kubik are my very close friends, and just being able to work with them and the entire crew every week has just been amazing. And going to Genoa's with the whole crew has just definitely been a memory that I will remember forever. And Dale coming along too, it's just always been a Sideline tradition that has been here since my freshman year, and then Joey Bova and Jacob have always just kept it with us. So that's definitely my favorite Sideline memory.
One that really stands out in particular is when we had JR Sport Brief from New York, WFAN, the same station, the same guy I listen to all the time with my dad in the car, on the way to work, wherever. I just listen to him all the time, and the fact that he's here, right in the same studio that I was doing my reporting on, it was awesome just to meet him, one of the guys that I listen to every day. Just to see him, get some advice from him, just be a sponge and soak up as much knowledge as I can from a professional in the industry like himself, and it was just an amazing experience and opportunity.
My favorite UView memory was actually around the big game in February. And, you know, we were conditioned to make sure to say big game, and I did it. And then when I was talking about something else, I slipped it in, and all I can remember was Joey absolutely going bonkers in the back room screaming. I could hear him all the way through the headsets, and I was just like, wow, like, that's funny. So, sorry, Joey.
My freshman year, we did a show. I don't remember if it was the senior show or not, but me, Ben, John, I think Natalia, maybe Colton, Cam, Michaela, Taylor, we all, like, I think we went back to Cam's apartment and we kind of just all hung out. I keep thinking about Taylor and Michaela and Cam and Colton and all of them, just like, they brought us in and showed us the ropes, told us what Sideline was, and explained like the significance of the show and whatnot, and it became like a bond or a family. And I mean, that moment where we all kind of got to actually hang out, not at Sideline or at Genoa's after a show, I think was really special. So
obviously for Sideline, there was a couple of big accomplishments. Going live for the first time last year, my junior year. That was something that we had really looked for, like once I took over as an assistant producer with Joey. That was something that we really looked to try and accomplish. That wasn't something that initially we thought we were going to be able to do, but just with the crew that we had, the amount of people that we had, both reporting and behind the scenes, and just the confidence that we had in everyone, that really was a big step in us actually going live. And what made it even better than that was we were actually able to succeed at it. We were actually able to go live without a hitch. There was no technical problems, there was no crew problem, talent problem, nothing like that. Being able to debate your topic and really have confidence that you're right, no matter whether you are or aren't. There's so many things in sports that you can debate, and we do in Case of the Week. There's so many things that you can talk about that are either right, wrong, however, but it's your opinion. So in sports, you're able to express your opinion. And there are so many times that we have had a Case of the Week where I've been sitting either in a control room or out as an on-air talent for Case of the Week. And I've been able to hear people say some really, really outlandish things, and I'm able to just look at that and go, what are you talking about? But since that's how our show functions, that's really something that's cool, is not everyone can really express their own sports opinions on like a regular on-camera segment like you can in Case of the Week.
Messing up is okay. It's totally okay. There's nothing wrong with it. There's so many other opportunities that you have throughout the year. I mean, you have 4 years here to keep going. So don't be down on yourself if you mess up. I think it's a good thing, and I mean, you always rise up to success, so keep messing up until you get up there.
Some advice that I still have for people in UView is to believe in yourself and really figure out what you want to work on and what you want to get better at, because at the end of the day, everyone at UView is here to get better and to learn. And it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a couple weeks. You're going to see that progress though in a couple of months. You're going to look at, your shows and your previous work and look and see that, hey, I did something great, but I also improved so much.
Just keep going. Just keep going. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity where you get to come into this amazing studio. You get to make some mistakes. This is the place where you learn. This is the place where you grow. So no pressure, no worries, just keep on going.
Make sure you just get acclimated quickly, build your connections. It's important to go to as many shows as possible, because if you keep going, you condition yourself. It helps you better speaking, getting comfortable in front of cameras. And if this is something you want to do in the future, whether that's being a reporter, a sports broadcaster, play-by-play, anything where you're an on-air personality, or even off-air for the production standpoint, I highly recommend just getting involved as much as you can.
My biggest thing is come in with ideas and come in prepared to work, because there's going to be people, whether it's your producers, your other on-air people, your control room people, odds are there may be a chance that you have an idea of something that is very, very similar to someone else, and by you saying that, that will then maybe make its way onto the air. And that may be something that, that could spark a career for you. That may spark even just another passion, whether it's working in another club. So I think if I had to give one piece of advice, it would be bring ideas to the table and really come in hungry to work. Because odds are if you show up, you are really, really, really going to enjoy it here because of the family. It really is a family what we have at UView. There's 4 different families, but it all goes really under one name. And everybody, it seems like, really likes to work with each other. And it just feels like it's the camaraderie within the group here at UView is just something else. And it was so great to be a part of that through my 3 years here at Point Park.
So the biggest thing I'm gonna miss is how nice everyone was and how welcoming everyone was, and it was kind of like a common trend within the school, so that's a big thing I'll miss.
So when I started Sideline, I was the only person in my year that began it, so it was just me and the seniors, and they just became my friends, and I really enjoyed talking with them, and it's gonna be really weird being at Sideline without them because they're all I've ever known when I've been at Sideline.
I'm gonna miss most their guidance and them putting up with all of our stupid mistakes.
They were the ones that like taught me everything, and they've just been like my security blanket for everything. They've always been there for me, so it's definitely gonna be hard to see them go.
Bruh.
Well, guys, I just want to say shout out to Addie for making that amazing senior video. She did such an amazing job, and she really put all of our, stories kind of together. But I just want to say I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. You guys, I met you two like first day here, like ever at Point Park for classes. And you guys, I met freshman year too, and you guys mean the world to me, and like we all have such bright futures ahead. And I'm really grateful for everything we've done together here. So, I love you guys.
Love you too.
Love you too, Nat.
Love you.
All right, well, I guess I'll get my sappy stuff out of the way. Yeah, this is kind of crazy from literally just watching the videos of us with Cam, or not even Cam, but Taylor and Colton and everyone. It is kind of crazy. It's a little surreal, actually. Literally, like I said in the video, like day one, I was literally at the interest meeting, and I remember like running into everyone, and I mean, we're here now. It's kind of crazy. I wasn't expecting to get all emotional, and I'm tearing up back here.
It's hard to believe that, like I said in my video, it was like sophomore year. We were in that class with Robin. All of a sudden it's like we got like what 10 days I think it is till graduation.
Yeah.
That's wild. It is wild to me, but I've loved every second of it working with. Obviously, you haven't been here as much because you've been working with volleyball and stuff, but we're really happy that you've been able to show up in the spring semester here and previously, and obviously you 3 loved working with every second with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, y'all a family for real. Like, as you guys said, like it's tough like seeing this go because this was something special. This was like,
I agree.
It meant a lot to me, just meeting y'all and doing this every week. It was a blessing. It was an honor, and it's something I'm gonna be forever grateful for. So thank y'all for making this experience so special to me. It's everything you guys do, all the work y'all put in. Like we work together. Like it was special, man. So thank you. I love y'all for real.
Just to be able to get this opportunity to have connections with you guys is something truly special and humbling. And also just, again, to have this opportunity to work with you guys and see how you guys operate, and it allows me to get better on the air and even see you guys from a production standpoint off the air, from getting scripts ready or from just working the cameras. It just allows me to get better as a person, and I'm so grateful. Again, I know I wasn't here as much last semester, but just trying to work with you guys, it just allows me to reinforce my love for everything sports related, whether that's on the air, calling the games, or debating games with you guys. I am truly appreciative to get that opportunity.
No other group I'd rather work with than
You guys are awesome.
Right here.
I got one other thing. I just want to thank everyone that's kind of been doing this with us for the last 4 years. Granted, a lot of the people behind the scenes are newer, and freshman, sophomore, junior, but and to the people before us, Cam and Taylor and Colton and RJ and Ray and Michaela, like
the crew.
The people that kind of set the groundwork for us really did a really good job, and I was honored to be able to be chosen to be a producer of the show and know the history of the show and be able to kind of develop it and build it more and more as the time has gone on, and
being able to work with you guys and have all the people that watch us and all the guests that we've had on, and Dale and Robin for being so incredibly supportive of us. And I mean, just being able to have the sort of creative freedom that we've been able to have for the last 3.5, 4 years, it's been pretty awesome. So I'm eternally grateful for that.
Yes, definitely.
Guys, that's it. That's a wrap. Thank you, Dale. Thank you to everyone at UView. We love you all, and I love you guys.
Love you too.
Love you too.
Well, that's all the time that we have this week, and that is all from us this semester. Us as seniors would like to thank you all for watching each week. Be sure to join us next semester at the same Pioneer time, the same Pioneer channel, and the same Pioneer Sideline.